Let's talk some politics this morning with our guest that you've seen there, Senator Ogunlewe. He's a former Minister of Governance Advisory Council, APC in Lagos. He's also a retired Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Civil Service. Thank you for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Good morning. Well, there are too many issues, both national and even your state, to talk about, and you're not unaware that, Lagos State has been in the news over the weekend. But from your experience as a retired Permanent Secretary, speak to us about what you think is missing. What's possibly responsible for? Is it a misunderstanding or miscommunication? We even reached out to the Lagos State government to come in, but it would seem like there's a general culture of silence. What do you think is missing?
I think it's communication. If you and trust of government is there on your behalf, and they are not there for themselves. You voted them in, and they must be responsible to you. So what you need to do is to invite the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, or Permanent Secretary, Health Management Board. They will give details. They will have nothing to hide. Well, definitely.
That can only be a hope, because after that letter, despite several efforts to get government to come speak with us today, that didn't happen. So it's not like we didn't try.
I don't think so. Get in touch with them. They will come. The Permanent Secretary will come, either from the Health Management Board or the Minister of Health. They owe the public, responsibility to explain, and they will not hide for you.
Well, we did reach out to the Lagos State government, and clearly we stated that they didn't send a representative. Hopefully they would, but the storyline, those who believe that the government should own up, or at least accept and say, well, yes, people were killed at that toll gate. Not as much as 103, but yes, we acknowledge that fact. And then let's move on. There were recommendations made in that from that panel. The Lagos State government accepted, I think, only 11. But each of the recommendations that referenced casualties at the Lekki toll gate, the government did not accept it. Do you think government has really done well in that light?
Definitely. They cannot hide for you. These people are people of integrity. They have their life to live after government, so they don't have anything to hide that is injurious to the public. I can bet you, even if you call the governor himself or the deputy governor, they will respond. They are for you. You voted them in, and they should be responsive to whatever you want to hear. And it is to their advantage if they explain to the public. If you don't do so, you leave the public to guess. And guesswork is destructive to any government.
But you also underscored the importance of building trust. How do you suggest that they do that if they are not willing to come out and talk to Nigerians? They will come.
I can assure you they will come. Get in touch with them. Honestly, they are, as I said, people of integrity. They're proving themselves along the line. They didn't just come into politics, to look for work. These are self-made people who came to serve. So let us give them the trust. Let us believe in them. Let us hear them out. I can assure you, I have interacted with them. These are complete, honest, and gentle people. They will come. I can assure you.
Well,
they will listen. They will explain.
Again, I have to restate that we've invited the Lagos State government. So maybe you're saying resend the invitation when we know that we've not gotten any feedback from the one we put out. But let's talk politics, because a lot of people would say clearly it's what's happening within political parties that then, dovetails or snowballs into governance itself. You can literally know what to expect from a government from what is happening within the political party or the political space. I mean, you are a member of the APC. You have vast experience across the AD, the PDP, now the APC. And with what's going on within your party, I know that the spokesperson of your party has come to say there is no crisis, but we've seen Mr. Saliu Lukman, who's been outspoken about what's going on within the APC. In that letter he put out, saying that the APC's statutory organs were frozen, prior to the resignation of Senator Abdullahi Adamu. No meetings of party organs were taking place. NWC became practically an observer, where the national chairman and national secretary basically usurped the power. So clearly there were issues within your party, but he's even more concerned that you might be entering a bigger crisis. And I just want to know, is it that parties, particularly your party, is not ready to be democratic, in fact progressive, as the name implies?
My experience with human being is that individuals have their own character, built up from their family background, from their exposure, and from their experience. And where we have about 32 member, executive committee, there must be differences. There must be checks and balances. There must be discussion. So I am not surprised that one of them is raising this issue. And the issues must be addressed. Fortunately for the party, the two main persons, the chairman and the secretary, they've resigned. So we can move forward. Let the executive committee elect another person or select or appoint. This is not the time to talk about party. Governance is more important than party. Let the party take care of themselves. As far as I'm concerned, party has very little relevance in the presidential system. The party is gone. It is governance now. So let the party sort them out. Let the president govern. And that is what the people are up to. Members of the political party can be struggling. It doesn't affect the government. Government should take responsibility to address the issue that is affecting Nigerians.
From your experience, Senator, how much does politics affect governance? If we're going to look at a ratio of 1 to 10, 10 being extremely, how much do you think politics should affect governance? Because, as Kayode said, there really isn't governance without politics in a democracy. So how significantly should politics affect governance?
Nigeria is very lucky to have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Senator, as the president of Nigeria. It's a mixture of the two. It's an extremely, knowledgeable political person. He knows the importance of the party, and he knows the importance of governance. My own experience in the presidential system of government, the buck stops at the table of Mr. President. What does he want? Like a person like Obasanjo, at the cabinet level, the chairman of the party and the secretary will sit down in cabinet to discuss matters so that the party is not excluded.
To discuss governance issues?
Yes. So the party is not seen
So clearly
excluded.
there's a role for political parties,
yes.
A major role.
Yes. So that the chairman of the party will have a role to play in governance so that there will be no disrespect, because naturally the party people will think that, yes, we put you there and we are not participating in governance, because the type of presidency we are running, most members of the cabinet may not be politicians, and they are now taking over the benefit that politicians have reaped. So what is their role again? Once they are totally excluded, they are uncomfortable. So what you should do, and the constitution of the party provides for that. You can have caucuses, you can have discussion with them, just carry them along. They are not going to lose anything.
I find it quite interesting, the word you used, benefit, because a lot of people who think that primarily going into governance is to serve the people, and perhaps the benefits can come afterwards, but that should not be the most important thing. What would I benefit from government, either as a political player or otherwise? But I'd like you to speak to this point. So you have placed the president above the party, so whatever he wants should be what should play out within the party. Some will question how democratic that is. Some will say that is autocratic, because why does the party then have an NWC? Why do you have all of those people represented if they cannot present their opinions, and then democracy should have its way? But speak to this point, because it's been touted now that the president has, the desire, or has put forward former governor of Kano State. But in that letter also from Mr. Lukman, he says that the former governor should be cleared of corruption charges against him before he emerges, if that's the case, the chairman of the APC. Do you agree that he brings all of that baggage on board if he becomes the chairman of your party, and it's not good for the image of the APC?
I suspect that the man is innocent until he's convicted. You cannot prevent a man from having his life because he has a baggage you know, misconduct that is not proved at the court level.
What about the video that, I mean, we've seen? It's been in the
Take it to
public
the court.
space.
Take it to the court.
Isn't that enough to raise questions? I mean, we've seen what happened with the CBN governor. He was suspended, or the former CBN, or suspended CBN governor. He was put aside while investigations are going on. So, don't you think that we've seen that video? It's been confirmed to be authentic by the Kano State Anti-Corruption Agency. Isn't that enough?
My own view is that let him be convicted first. Don't stop the process of the court. But that should not deny him the opportunity to serve in any capacity for now.
You don't think that, you know, giving him such a significant office in the ruling party, not the opposition party, in the ruling party, you don't think it casts any aspersions at all on your party or the moral standing of the APC?
Unfortunately for us, that is the constitution of the country. You cannot be prevented from holding any position because you have, you know, a baggage to carry that is not proved at the court level.
There is another angle to that is what the same Mr. Lukman mentioned about, you know, lauding a particular individual over the NWC without passing him, that's Dr. Ganduje, through due process of the party according to the constitution.
No, he will be presented to the NWC and you can vote him out. It is not compulsory that you must vote for him. It's a democracy. Why are you preventing him? If you have that conviction, go and convince your members not to adopt him. But you cannot say because you don't like him, then he should not be presented. Let him be presented. You lobby your contemporaries, your members, and let them vote him out.
Pardon me, if you were in a position to vote today, would you vote against the choice of the president?
I will ask him questions.
No, I'm saying if you disagree, would you publicly say, I'm voting against this person, even though it's the president choice? Can you in actual fact do that?
I've not discussed with him.
With who, the president?
No, the person being presented. It's not going to be automatic. If I have any form of reservation, I will say, okay, let him come for interview.
No, so I'm saying if you have a reservation, can you publicly vote against? Because you say you make it look like it's easy for people to vote against the choice of the president. Can you vote against the choice of the president?
If I am to vote,
yes,
I will interrogate the person.
And if you're not satisfied, would you vote
I will
against?
vote against him.
And it brings me to the point that was also raised by Mr. Lukman. You know, his letter seems to be like a reference point now because we know he's an insider and he's seen a lot of things going on with the party. And he says that, you know, your party must urgently address this situation where the party becomes a dumping ground for surrogates of elected politicians. And clearly he has seen a trend, maybe from the state and now at the national level. So you have elected, you know, representatives or people in government now selecting those who would lead the affairs of the party. He believes that is essentially making the party a dumping ground. Do you agree with him on that?
I don't agree with him. I don't agree with his process. If he's convinced, let him present all these, you know, issues to the institution that is responsible for the confirmation of the chairman of the party. Convince them so that they will not adopt him. But if you are taking it to the public is not going to vote on that day. So you are just wasting your time. Present it to the National Working Committee or the Executive Committee of your party. Convince them that these are my reservations. And then once they are convinced, they will not vote for him. But if you are taking it to the public is not voting. So you are just, to my mind, you are not doing the work of somebody that has integrity.
But he has written, in fact, I'm sure you followed the conversation. He's written to the former chairman. He's written quite extensively to the party. At some point, I'm sure he became a troublemaker within the party. And we've seen that, him being called into meetings, trying to resolve those issues. So whether or not he has written to the party, I mean, I think we have evidence regarding that. But in terms of the next chairman of your party, the emergence of your next chairman, he believes that if your party is not careful, you get into a worse situation from what it was before. But factor this point in, Senator. The North Central was holding the chairmanship position. Some would say it ended abruptly. And in the principle of fairness, equity, and justice, some say naturally that position should stick to the North Central. But the way it's going, it looks like it will go to the Northwest. Again, is that the right way to go?
The people of that constituency, they are also members of the National Working Committee or the Executive Committee. They are represented. Let them protest. Or there are members of this party from North Central that can also protest. It doesn't have to be a public matter. That's what I'm saying. It's an internal affairs of your party. You can sort it out, you know, reasonably by communicating, by discussing. But if you put it in writing now, of what benefit is it to your party?
Senator, you make it sound like, because the way it's sounding with all these issues that we've had, not just from Mr. Lukman, but quite a number of other people, both at the federal, national level and at state level, you know, these issues continue to raise the question of whether or not the APC is as organized as it looks. There are those who are wondering whether or not these bottles, these portions, these pockets of crisis doesn't show the vulnerability of APC's internal workings to deal with its own issues internally.
As far as I'm concerned, party is not important for Nigeria now. There are so many issues of governance that is affecting the people. Let the party sort themselves out. How many people are members of the party in Nigeria? They are not up to 1%.
Are you telling the president to let the party sort themselves out?
No, he's a member of the party too.
So who are you telling to let the party sort themselves out?
The public.
But the public has a vested interest as well. It's the ruling party.
Let them shift their interest to governance now.
No,
because that one affects them more.
You just said that the chairman of the party usually attends meetings, at least when you were conversant with what was happening. So clearly the party is involved in governance. So why are you trying to separate that now?
I'm talking about when there are crises to solve, let the party sort it out. The public cannot sort it out for them. Let the people talk about governance now, which is more important than party wrangling.
You know,
as far as I'm concerned, party is not relevant as we are putting it in a presidential system.
But it is. The flag bearer came from the party.
Yes.
In fact, people voted for the party when they went to the ballot. But even at the basis, charity, they say, begins at home. You don't expect a government that cannot handle internal party affairs to be able to handle a much complex nation like Nigeria.
They will, no. There are two different things. There are too many contradictions, you know, bad minds, you know, mudslinging in the political party that most people should not even go there.
What do you think is responsible for that?
It is
all of that mudslinging.
I don't know. You know, there are too many intrictions, too many, you know, infighting, vested interest, which you will not even see going on. Caucuses, discussion, overnight caucuses, you know, backsliding, mudslinging to get favor. That is politics for you. But governance is different. Governance is about the people. Party is about the party members. Let's leave all those things to party members to solve. They will solve themselves out. Don't let them mix it up with governance. We have too many things to think about as a government. That we're talking about any political party now. What about Labour Party? Look at the problem they are facing. What about PDP? Look at the problem they are saving.
Are you a member of, well, okay, you were a member of the PDP side, but not the Labour Party.
No, Labour Party. Yeah, but the crisis in Labour Party is even worse.
And they're not in government.
And they're not in government.
So I'm saying that, I mean, you imagine that attention will not be on them as much as the APC.
To manage a political party is so difficult. So me, I don't bother myself. If you bother yourself about party, you will die very young. Because there are carpenters there are artisans there are not a good do where there are motorcycle people, market women. You know, party is a complex thing. The composition is too complex. You cannot predict them. There are too many illiterates, too many poor people. that you have to manage.
Yet we continue to ask people to go into politics so that they can, take back their country, so to speak.
I don't envy them.
That's another conversation
Let them
altogether.
go and see.
Senator Adeseye Ogunlewe is a former Minister of Works. He is also a member of the Governance Advisory Council of APC in Lagos. He's a retired permanent secretary, Lagos State Civil Service. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Today.
Thank you.
Well, your own conversation with us this morning, your own inputs to the program. Guess what we have? First, Festus Akimboyewa says it is sad that we lost as many as 103 compatriots during the 2020 NSAS protests. It's even more sad to politicize the unfortunate deaths. Let those who died be given a decent burial and let the dead rest. May the souls of those who died rest in peace.
Well, this one is from Abura Kenneth. Says it is not shocking to hear that the attackers of these communities have ulterior motives. Nigeria is bleeding, he says. The government of Nigeria should add honesty to the weapons with which they tackle the insecurities in the entire region.
This is an email from Nonso Ozo talking about insecurity in Plateau State. It says a terrorist attack in Owo is connected to the attacks in Plateau State. If the DSS and other intelligence agencies do their part by providing intelligence to the federal government, the latter should soon have the will to act. We have rulers and public officials who have abdicated their responsibilities to the people.
And then we have this one, an email again from Adekbojo Adeyinka. He says, please, I would like to focus on waste management in Lagos. Is Loma dead? What is the state government doing about it? Everywhere is stinking, from Egbeda to Iba, Papa, Oshodi Expressway, and others. Fear of an epidemic is on the table. Adekbojo Adeyinka sent that in.
Well, I know that they just recently changed the head of Loma. It certainly has his work cut out for him, and he was appointed by somebody. So even if the head of Loma isn't doing his work, the person who appointed him should take
hit the ground running. But we have to hit the ground running. Wish you a beautiful rest of the day, and thank you for letting us be a part of your morning. I'm Nelta Igbe.
Really appreciate your feedback. Thank you for sending them in. I'm Mal Yusuf.
I'm Karadoki Chelo.
And I'm Ayo Makide. Have a wonderful week ahead.